A new photography exhibit opens today at Art Central in downtown Calgary. It's called The Human Rebuild, a collection of portraits of people who have suffered some kind of loss or trauma. Alexis Marie Chute is the artist. She's based in Edmonton, but she's here in Calgary for the opening. Hello, Alexis.
Hello, nice to meet you.
So why did you decide to do this project?
It actually started quite organically. My second child, my son, passed away in 2010, and it was one of the most fundamentally defining, transforming events of my life. And through that, I discovered the healing ability of art. And so I started with creating artwork about my own experience, and then it just blossomed from there, and I incorporated different people who have been through different experiences themselves.
It's one thing to share your own experience, but it's another thing altogether to try and convince people who've also experienced that kind of loss to be photographed and share their stories. What was that voyage like?
I put a call out on Facebook and Twitter, and it wasn't actually that hard to convince people. I found that a lot of people had a story they wanted to share, but they didn't have an outlet. And so this was almost like a step in their healing journey. That's how many people described it.
And what are some of the stories attached to the photos?
Oh, I've got many people who've endured lots of interesting things. Like one woman found an incriminating email from her husband with another woman, and so that started the beginning of a very messy divorce. Another woman had a postpartum heart attack. I've had people who've lost brothers, parents, and also children like myself. So it ranges the whole gamut. It's kind of amazing how even though these people have different struggles, they all find healing in a very unique way. And
can you describe the photos to us? What was your thought process when you were posing people?
So I used a lot of natural elements like trees and bark in it, in the photographs, because I felt like it was almost like the human rebuild in terms of symbolically the regrowth that happens after a wildfire in the forest. Like new life has to push through the burnt ash and ember and find the sun. And I feel like that's what people have to do after hardship. They have to consciously rebuild, and it's a hard journey, but in the end, it's worth it, and you're stronger because of it.
Do you think, based on your personal experience, that you had a special connection with some of these people who were sharing traumatic experiences with you?
Oh, absolutely. I think that once you've endured, any kind of hardship, you understand and can relate to people on a different level, and the empathy is that much more compassionate, I believe.
And did that put them at ease when you were taking their pictures?
Absolutely. And we talked before I even picked up the camera, and we just got on the same page, and so I really could feel their emotion coming through in our dialogue and in the pictures.
So was this cathartic in some way for you as well?
Oh, absolutely. I found that art in a visual way could express what I couldn't necessarily put to words at the time. And I think that's one of the most powerful aspects that people can use in their healing.
What did you hear from the people you photographed after their pictures were taken?
People who got back to me were just like, it was almost like a breath of fresh air to be able to be open. Because, say somebody dies, you go to their funeral, and then, back to work and back to life, and you're supposed to be okay, right? Mm-hmm. But healing of the human heart doesn't work like that. And so I found that people were so encouraged to be able to be open and vulnerable with their experience and how they're continuing to try to find healing.
How did you get into photography? What's your background?
Well, I started as a visual artist, and this was actually back in high school. I blew through all the art classes, and someone suggested, why don't you take photography? And my first reaction was, photography's not art. But then once I took the class, I was hooked, and there was no going back. So,
and it's one of those things too. I mean, because you're talking about people who've endured some traumatic experiences. If you've seen a photo that's taken well, it's almost like you've captured a moment, and I don't want to get too esoteric, but a glimpse of their soul. Is that the experience you get when you catch someone in just the right light at the right time? Absolutely,
and that's kind of what I was going for with these images. I want to portray the inner on the exterior.
And do you think that the camera, does it reveal things that perhaps other medium don't?
Oh, absolutely. Some of the people were a little bit self-conscious about their bodies, things that you don't necessarily face in the everyday, in your everyday life. But I think that I have a special skill, I don't know what you'd call it, but to make people feel comfortable and that the camera's not even there, that we're having a dialogue between them and me as I'm taking the pictures.
So how do you put them at ease? Because ultimately the camera is there.
Yeah.
And your job is to get them to forget about that and to open up to you, right?
Yeah. Like I talked to people throughout the whole process, and I'm kind of a klutzy, giggly, down to earth kind of person. And so I find that we'll just start talking about stuff, and it becomes deep and personable quite quickly. And I find that people just, feel at ease. And it's an enjoyable experience for both of us.
So for people who are going to see your work, what would you hope they take away from this?
I would like people to feel that the resiliency of the human spirit can get them through anything, and that by being open and sharing their experience, others can be helped as well. And
how are you doing these days?
I'm doing great. I still think about my son every single day, but I feel like he's given me direction and purpose in my life. I care so much about helping other people, and that's the best gift he could ever give me.
Where does this go from here?
Well, I'm still photographing people for the Quiet Rebuild, actually during this month of Exposure Photography Festival here in Calgary. I've already got a lineup of quite a few different Calgarians who are also wanting to open up about their experience. So I don't feel like I'm done with this project, and I see it expanding from here.
If people are interested in it, how can they reach you?
They can reach me by email, info@alexismariechute.com.
Alexis, thanks for coming in.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Alexis Marie Chute is an Edmonton-based artist. Her photo portrait exhibit is called The Human Rebuild. It opens tonight at 6 at Art Central in downtown Calgary and runs through the end of February.